This is my recap of UConn's game against Villanova on Sunday, January 5th. This could be 5 minutes, it could be a lot longer than 5 minutes. I don't think I'm going to put a time frame on it anymore. I kind of just talk to my heart's desire, and what it ends up being, it ends up being. This is going to come out a little later than my usual game recaps. I usually like to get them out the night of if possible, but just to get out of the gate and talk about it, after we saw Paige Bueckers go down with an injury in the third quarter, I did just want to take some time to see how things were going to pan out. I thought it would be the more respectful thing to do rather than jumping into some form of commentary. And I just wanted to take the time right out of the gate to say that I wish Paige Bueckers nothing but the best physically, mentally, spiritually. Gino did comment on the incident multiple times in both the post-game interview and then in his post-game press conference as well. He repeatedly said that Paige looks good and that he thinks that she will be fine. He also said something along the lines of it wasn't the worst outcome, which he was grateful for because it did look very awkward in the moment. So it seems like she and the team are in high spirits. There's still a lot we don't know, but I think this series of events has definitely led fans to feel a lot more optimistic. Again, I wish Paige nothing but the best physically and mentally. Today marked her 100th game playing for UConn. It has been such a privilege to watch all 100 of those games. In my 12 seasons of watching UConn basketball, there are a few players who have impressed me more than Paige Bueckers has. Truly a commendable figure on and off the court. She is so unbelievably strong and resilient. I know whatever this is, Paige is going to come back stronger, and I'm really looking forward to it. Moving on to more general thoughts about the game, I think overall it was another positive showing for the Huskies. I thought that there were actually a lot of moments where UConn's game seemed to be running really smoothly. Of course, basketball is a game of runs, so there were a few moments where I thought the game was a little more uncomfortably close than it probably should have been, but a lot of those moments could potentially be explained by the lineups that UConn had in, because once the team made those adjustments, usually they answered with a run of their own. I think we are seeing UConn start to figure out who their core players are, and beyond that, what lineups and what combinations to play those players in. I'll touch on some of my takeaways and thoughts about specific players, even if they're not necessarily starters. I think these are people where we are seeing that the coaching staff wants to have them on the court. So at this point, I'm expecting them to be key contributors for this team for the rest of the season and into March. Starting with the player who is a starter and is playing just out of her mind, this was another Sarah Strong masterclass. UConn started out a little slow, but Sarah Strong did not. She reached double figures 6.5 minutes into the first quarter. I think she and Jana had 14 of the first 17 points. I thought that was really great production from our front court early on. At some point, I was asking if she even misses. To go along with 21 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, 1 steal, already such a complete game. If I had to pick out an area for improvements, maybe I'd say that I would like for her to get more rebounds, but that's not just her, it's a whole team thing, and I'll get into that later probably. I especially liked when the sideline reporter at the end of the first half asked Gino something along the lines of, "What are your thoughts on the 16 points that Sarah scored in the first half?" And his immediate response was, "I think she has to shoot more." Spot on! I would not mind if every possession ends in a Sarah Strong basket. She has just been transformative for this team. I always say it, but I really do not want to take this performance for granted. What a star. Before I start talking about players off the bench, I do want to say that Paige Bueckers was having herself a game today, a near double-double with 15 points and 9 assists. So I just wanted to highlight a good performance from her, especially because she was struggling with her shot last game. So it was nice to see that her shot was on today. And here is where I will say that the way Paige Bueckers is refereed is insane. It is very clear, and you can look at the numbers. She gets so few foul calls and free throws relative to other players of her caliber. Next, I'm going to talk about a couple bench players. I'm going to start with the sophomore guard duo of KK Arnold and Ashlyn Shade. I feel like by the end of this season, this channel will probably feel like a KK Arnold, Ashlyn Shade propaganda account because of how much I talk about them, but I am genuinely, again, just so impressed with the way that they've played recently. They're two players where, in my opinion, I feel that they come in and immediately have a positive impact. Even if their shot isn't on that day or they're not scoring a ton, I do think they just seem to bring out the best of this UConn team. And I must not be alone because when UConn got off to a slow start, they were tied 9-9 with Villanova. Gino immediately put KK and Ashlyn into the game about 4 or 5 minutes in. I was like, that was exactly what I would have done. And UConn, 4 or 5 minutes in, immediately went small because Gino took out AZ and Jana when he put in KK and Ashlyn. I think Jana will get a lot more playing time as the season progresses. Hopefully, Gino. but I do think that UConn really seems to like its small ball lineups, and for good reason because they've definitely had the best results. I'm going to start with KK Arnold because how could I not? Season high 15 points, her second game in a row where she sets a season high in points. Took and drained a 3 without hesitation, which is exactly what I want to see from KK Arnold. I am so optimistic about her progression as a 3-point shooter. I really think this is something she can make a really reliable, consistent part of her game. We've definitely seen it from UConn point guards before, and it just makes me so excited about her game. Also, I had no idea that she had a 4.67 assist to turnover ratio, which is second in the nation. I think that's unreal from a sophomore point guard. But then it goes along with that, nothing makes me shake my head more at the screen than when KK travels with the ball, because I just know that she's better than that. She did have one moment this game, but she definitely made up for it. I specifically loved one of her passes to Sarah. KK got up the floor super quick, Sarah had great inside position, KK threw it over the top, and Sarah put it in for an easy 2. I wrote in my notes, my big 2 of the future, which maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but again, I have just been so impressed. Then in the fourth quarter, KK just took over. When the team needed a steady presence, someone to be the floor general, KK stepped up. I thought Ashlyn Shade had a good game. The thing I really want to talk about is I love how she took those 3 threes in a row from the left corner. She missed the first 2, drained the third one, and then drained another 3 from elsewhere on the court. So in a very quick span, she went from shooting 0% from 3 to 50% from 3, and that's just the kind of thing that I want to see Ashlyn Shade doing. I want her to keep shooting because I have full faith that eventually she'll be on target. Because UConn will definitely need her to shoot the lights out at some of these arenas as we progress through the season. Also, my long-running statement that I see Ashlyn Shade around the basket when it's time to get a rebound more than any other player on this team, despite her being 5'10". It's like kind of a joke, but I also feel like I just keep getting proven right because she, alongside Paige and Jana, got the most rebounds today. And I love the hustle, and I love that she just keeps on shooting. Same with AZ, shot a little bit better today. She didn't take a ton of shots, but she's definitely getting into her rhythm, and watching AZ's footwork on defense is my favorite thing. The last player I want to highlight is Morgan Shelley. My goodness, she always seems to find herself in the right place. She scored on an excellent pick and roll play with Paige, and then immediately on the other side of the floor forced a travel from Villanova. She's the kind of two-way player that you just love to have on your team. Morgan just fits in so well in those really productive small ball lineups we've been seeing from UConn, and she's going to continue to get well-deserved playing time because of it. UConn's core players to me right now really look like Paige, Sarah, AZ, KK, and Ashlyn. I think have just made themselves so valuable, and then Jana and Morgan are growing and progressing so quickly and really proving themselves and their worth out there. I'll talk very briefly about Caitlin Chen, who I think is so solid defensively. I'm just continually impressed by her effort on that side of the floor, but offensively, I still really would like to see more production from her. Today, she did take 5 shots, which I think is a plus. I am hopeful that we will see more scoring from Caitlin. The pitfall of a small ball lineup, and something that UConn has just been struggling with this season in general, is rebounding. UConn did not get out-rebounded tonight. They won the rebounding battle 35-30, but they were out-rebounded 18-19 at the half. And I would like to see their final rebound margin extend a little more, especially in Big East play, because in the tournament in March, some of these teams have scary size, and getting on top of rebounding will really change so much for this team. But overall, I think it was another pretty positive showing from UConn. Honestly, it's only been 5 hours since the game, but I feel like I remember nothing. I'm looking forward to Wednesday's game against Xavier. Have to finish it out by again saying that I wish Paige Bueckers nothing but the best. Let me know, as always, what your thoughts and takeaways were. I appreciate you watching, and that's what happened with the Huskies today. Till next time.